Jesus never said that he was God, did he? Have you ever heard non-Christians say things like, "Why do you think Jesus is God? Even he never said he was God." Or something perhaps like this.
There is not a single unequivocal statement in the complete Bible where Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, himself says that I am God, or where he says worship me.
So is it true? Did Jesus really never say that he was God? Well, one thing that we have surely said is to like our video, subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell if you don't want to miss any of our videos. And don't forget to share our videos with your friends and family, we'd really appreciate it. So, who really was Jesus of Nazareth? Was he just the son of a carpenter, a great teacher, or something more? Was he actually claiming to be God, or was that something his followers made up? To answer this, let's look at some accounts from the Gospels. For most modern readers of the Gospel, it might seem like Jesus just described himself as a teacher, a rabbi, and at most, the master of his disciples. He never explicitly said the literal words, "I am God." Others say that only the Gospel of John was written to prove that Jesus was God, while Matthew, Mark, and Luke were more biographical and so didn't say anything about Jesus' divinity. But remember, Jesus' audience wasn't 21st century Christians. They were 1st century Jews. He spoke to them in a way that they would understand. Jesus preached and performed miracles not merely as a prophet who hears and repeats or acts according to instructions, but as one with authority and first-hand experience. For example, on many occasions he elaborates or even updates the laws of Moses by saying things like, "You have heard that it was said, but I say to you." For the Jews, Moses was the people's representative before God, the one who gave them the 10 Commandments and the Torah. In their eyes, he was the closest that man could ever possibly get to God. So by overriding Moses' teachings, Jesus demonstrated his authority over the law. Even with his miracles and healings, he was giving them clues about his divinity. For example, when Jesus encounters the faith of the paralytic man, he says to him, "Your sins are forgiven." This really aggravates the scribes and Pharisees because, according to them, who can forgive sins but God alone? Now, Jesus knew that they were thinking this, and so to prove his point, he says, "But that you may know that the Son of Man has authority on earth to forgive sins," he said to the paralytic man, "I say to you, rise, take up your pallet and go home." And the paralytic gets up and walks home. We'll get to the Son of Man part a bit later, but for now, we see that while Jesus doesn't directly answer their question with words, it's quite obvious through his actions. Another example, which is recorded in all 3 synoptic Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, is the account of Jesus calming the sea. Though Jesus has done other miracles at the point in his ministry, the disciples, trying to wrap their heads around what they witnessed, asked, "Who is this that the wind and sea obey him?" Compare this with Psalms 107, which talks about the Lord Yahweh, the traditional Jewish divine name for God, calming the stormy seas. This connection would have been obvious to the Jews who would regularly memorize and pray the Psalms. Later in his ministry, he was even more direct with his statements. At the end of Mark's Gospel, the Sanhedrin directly asked Jesus if he was the Messiah. Jesus responds, "I am, and you will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of power and coming with clouds of heaven." And how did the Sanhedrin respond to this statement? The high priest aggressively tore his garments and declared Jesus a blasphemer. Why? Because Jesus was claiming to be God in 2 ways. First, "I am" was the divine name God revealed to the Israelites in Exodus chapter 3 verse 14. Then in the second half, Jesus recalls that prophetic vision from the book of Daniel, where he describes one like the Son of Man riding on the clouds and seated on the throne next to the Ancient of Days, or God, and ruling with everlasting dominion and power over all the universe. This title of Son of Man is the same title used by the prophet Micah to describe the Messiah, while Ancient of Days was a reference to God the Father. Not only that, but Daniel's vision describing the Son of Man riding on the clouds is also referenced in Psalm 18, where the Lord rides on a cherub and is surrounded by thick clouds. But even Jesus knew that words could be dismissed as false teachings and blasphemy. So he tells his critics that it's fine if they don't believe his words, but they should at least believe him because of the miracles, the healings, the exorcisms, and all the amazing works that show that he is indeed the Son of God. From the very start, through his words, miracles, healings, and authoritative teachings, Jesus provided both his followers and critics with ample evidence of his true identity. When we read the Gospels through the lens of a first century Jew well versed in the Jewish scriptures, Jesus' claims to divinity are clearly demonstrated through his words and actions. So, what do you think about this? Do you have any other evidence that shows that Jesus never said he was God? Let us know in the comments below. Also, if you like this video, let us know by liking and subscribing to our channel. It really helps us a lot. Until next time.